So I was just sitting here thinking and reflecting on the fact that it's officially 2 years since I quit alcohol and coffee, and still feels so surreal, to be honest, because I never thought it was gonna be this long without it. I actually had thought I would take a break for just a few weeks, for a few months until I would heal myself, but here we are 2 years later, still at it and still continuing to do it. I will still do it. I don't know if for the rest of my life, but for sure for a really long time, because it's done me really well. I think it's done really good things for my body as well. And I think that I'm at a point where I'm used to it not being a part of my life. Like, it's just not a part of my reality. And took a while to get here, to get used to it. So I just don't see myself going back to those ways anytime soon. And it's honestly crazy because I never thought I was gonna fully detach from these two things, like especially coffee, because I was one of those people, like daily coffee drinker. One of the best parts of my day was my morning coffee. And I was one of those that I could drink coffee at 9 p.m. and still go to bed after with no problems. And I'm Colombian, so also it's just a part of our culture there. And absolutely loved it. So I never saw myself going through life without it. And also with alcohol, I was never drinking it every day or anything like that, but it was definitely something that was a part of my social life, especially whenever I would go out with friends, whenever, the nightlife, the concerts, the partying, there was always alcohol involved. And it was just one of those things that was just always there. And after quitting, I realized how obsessed our culture, and not just here, but everywhere in the world, people are obsessed with alcohol, and how celebrations always equal drinking. So, for the first times in my life, I got to celebrate some birthdays, some New Year, certain celebrations, things that I would always drink for. I got to experience sober and kind of realize how unnecessary drinking actually is, and how it's kind of like a brainwash that we're conditioned to always drink for this type of occasions, when in reality is not necessary at all. I even went out a few times to clubs and stuff without drinking, and even had more energy than times where I was drinking. So you realize that it's totally unnecessary. And yes, it's fun. Trust me, sometimes I do miss it, but it's something that once you get used to, it's easier to live without, and you realize how it's much healthier, and how it is a poison at the end of the day. It's really not something that we should get used to, even if it's on the weekends, like every weekend. Like, it's still a lot on the body. And for me, it was an easy decision to leave this, actually, because the reason why I decided to go on this break was I was dealing with gastritis and with acid reflux. I was going through a terrible flare up, horrible symptoms, and I just knew, like, for me, it was an easy choice, that I just knew I had to let go of these things, even if it was temporary for me to heal. And those of you that have gone through it know that alcohol and caffeine are some of the worst triggers, not just for gastritis, but anything gut related. Like, those are some of the worst triggers. So for me, it was pretty obvious, like, I need to try to be without these things for a while. So that's how it all started. And because of those circumstances, it was really easy for me at the beginning to leave it behind, because I kind of just fully focused on prioritizing my health and just healing. So it was easy. I was willing to let go of anything if it meant that I was going to get my physical well being back. So it was really something that helped me to sort of go through it and, just stay away from it. And little by little, I started getting more and more used to just living without it. This year was a whole other story, though, because I was already healed, feeling better. My gut was doing well. So I didn't have that reason of, like, oh, I need to stay away from it because then I'm going to feel bad. I don't know what would happen if I go back to the ways in which I was drinking coffee and alcohol before. I would probably not do good for me. I don't want to test it out. But still, this year I was feeling much better, and I was actually traveling. I was a few months in Brazil. So, when you're traveling, you're much more open to doing things, like, oh, fuck it, let me just do that. And there was temptations everywhere. I was there during the carnival, so alcohol was absolutely everywhere. It's definitely much harder to say no. But by that time, I was a little bit more seasoned in knowing how to resist the temptation and sort of like just look away and do my own thing. But that was one of the main things actually that this whole journey has taught me, is how to say no. And you would think that it's something so easy, like, oh, just say no. But for a lot of us, saying no takes a lot. And for a lot of us, it's one of those lessons that we have to learn in life, hopefully sooner rather than later. And for a lot of us, certain situations have to happen, for certain challenging situations have to come in order for us to be able to learn that lesson. But I certainly did, learning just how to say no to things that are not really good, even things that you don't really want. Because a lot of times we say yes to drinking just because it's there, because the people around us are doing it, but we don't even ask ourselves, like, do I really want to drink? Do I really want some of that right now? So just learning how to like check in and like sit with yourself, sit with the temptations, learn to say no. It's not the end of the world. And that was definitely a valuable lesson. So here I am, I would say stronger than ever. And to anyone out there thinking of doing this or doing this already, you got this. If I did this, anyone can do it. And it's honestly so, so worth it. Just the reward of feeling proud of yourself. Like, that's a high that no alcohol or coffee could ever give you, or any other thing that you're trying to quit, like just that feeling of being able to have like that control and to know that you're doing something good for your body, for your health. There's nothing quite like it. So I wish everyone the best luck. Take care of yourselves, and peace.